Hi, folks. It's time for some international news. Well, this week, which is the third week of November, on I guess Wednesday, the 15th, the nation of Zimbabwe had experienced a soft coup or a bloodless coup. What happened is that the military had ousted Robert Mugabe, and placed Robert Mugabe and his wife Grace in house arrest. Now, I think this is a good thing because Robert Mugabe was one of the worst leaders that I guess the continent of Africa had to deal with. And if you don't know about Robert Mugabe, I can tell you this. Robert Mugabe came into power after after he raged. Okay, Robert Mugabe came into power after he waged a guerrilla war known as the Rhodesian Bush War against the Rhodesian white supremacist regime, and replaced it with his own regime. A lot of people consider it the independence of Zimbabwe because Rhodesia wasn't recognized as a country at the time. Many people still thought it was British territory, and I guess the only thing that came out of the war is that it was nothing more than a regime change. Of course, he became president in 1987, but even before 1987, from 1980 to 1987, what I'm trying to say that he was the de facto leader of Zimbabwe. And he was the one calling the shots at the time. And it's been like that since the war, the Bush War. And because of this, he's been one of the worst leaders ever to lead Zimbabwe. Because he had like one of the worst economic policies. One of his worst economic policies was his land reform, which he kicked off the white farmers from their land. These were like farmlands that these white farmers lived on for generations, and he booted them out, which caused a devastation within the Zimbabwean economy. The country pretty much lost its investors once it happened. What happened is that he placed landless blacks into the farms and have them operate the farms. Most of them were his cronies, members of his inner circle, his top ass kissers, and none of them can farm, not even once. They can't even grow a fucking turnip or a backyard garden if they could. And because of that, the the country of Zimbabwe experienced a massive food shortage, which led to famine. Then it led to economic decay because he thought it would be a good idea to print money endlessly so he can buy imports. Because of this, most of the people there ate imported food from other countries. Now, many of them escaped into South Africa just to get out of this misery that Robert Mugabe has induced. And of course, it ended up with him begging the white farmers to return. Now, I think they should return now because when he started making that plea, I would tell these white farmers that used to live there not to return to Zimbabwe and let Robert Mugabe lay in his own bed. And Lord and behold, he is laying in his own bed because he got ousted out of office, by his own military. And I think one of the coup leaders is the former vice president. I don't know his name. He was the vice president that got sacked because he wanted Grace to take over his country, which is nepotism, people. And that would have been even worse than he was, because nepotism never goes well, especially either for a country or a company, on account that it often runs the country down to the ground, and because of that shit, a lot of people are happy that he's been ousted out of office. And I think I should be happy too, Now, there's always a good... Okay, now with the coup and stuff, since I'm hoping for a Pinochet-style development, or a Pinochet-style government, where they decided to let capitalism into the country, to develop Zimbabwe. Make it the breadbasket that it was once in its glorious past, Because before the land reforms that Robert Mugabe has set up, Zimbabwe was known as the breadbasket of South Africa, or Southern Africa, Then Mugabe fucked it up for everybody, and a lot of people hate him for that. And they can rejoice now because he's gone. And I guess we can expect some development. And I'm hoping Zimbabwe will become like Libya when Libya was waving the green flag. Which means when Libya's one was... what I'm saying is that I'm hoping Zimbabwe will become like Libya when Libya was waving the green flag, which means the Gaddafi regime. When Libya had the Gaddafi regime, it had all the infrastructure, food, and order it had, until Hillary and Barack Obama fucked it up and pretty much brought chaos to the country. Now, there's a good chance that the military coup could end up installing a autocrat who will just resort to central planning, because most of these military guys are central planners. That's pretty much what they're trained to do, is to do central planning. Now, even Augusto Pinochet resorted to central planning at the time that's because it was part of his military training and his military thinking. And you could end up with a dictatorship in Zimbabwe, maybe with some capitalism, and that will last forever until some group comes and overthrows the military. And we could end up having a Rwanda situation. One of the things I fear for Zimbabwe right now is that we could end up like Rwanda, where everything goes to hell and a lot of dead people and shit. But hopefully this could help Zimbabwe to develop as a country. Which, that's all I gotta say about Zimbabwe. Now, I wasn't coherent. Okay, now, I'm not the most coherent person when it comes to making videos unscripted, but this was like urgent news. Another urgent news is about Twitter. So, let's go. Okay, people, it's time to talk about Twitter. Now, I will try to keep this short as possible. Now, during this week on Wednesday, Twitter's pretty much terminated Fake Alaska's account because of wrongthink. Now, and not only that, it also unverified a couple of people, which I don't know who your name is. One of them is Tommy Robinson and A Purposeful Wife. Which, with the verification thing, all it is to me is just having a circle with a check mark telling you that you are verified. And I guess it's supposed to protect you from having your account being terminated for no reason, but I never even thought of verifying my Twitter account. What's the fucking point of verifying your account? And I think it's fucking bullshit that Twitter wants to go after people for wrongthink. That's why we have Gab now. And so, what's Twitter's plan now? Well, Twitter has a plan. Twitter is going to go after people that have accounts on so-called extremist websites or just other social media platforms. Which, if they do wrongthink on these other social media platform or extremist website, they will get their account suspended permanently, which means termination. This is a fucking bullshit thing, because what if somebody, hates somebody so much on Twitter that they decided to use somebody's Twitter handles of a person that they hate and try to get them banned by making a fake account on an extremist website like on, I guess, the Daily Stormer or or conservative website just to get them kicked out. I can go on to Kevin Logan's Twitter handle and make a fake account on Daily Stormer, have him talk about how much he hates niggers and how much he wants to gas the Jews, just to see if Twitter is gonna fucking ban him. That would be fucking funny, just seeing him freaking out about him getting his channel banned because someone created a fake account on Daily Stormer or some other website expressing the wrong thing. Now, I don't support Daily Stormer because, one, racism is a collective view, not an individualistic view. I'm too much of an individualist to be a racist because I don't think someone's skin color, creed, or religion defines a person what they are. And and I think a person's defined what they do by the context of their character. Even Mr. Medicare pretty much joked about people creating fake accounts on the Daily Stormer. Like his tweet is, so basically what this is saying is you have 1 month to create a account on extremist websites using Twitter handles of people you hate to get them all banned in what is sure to be the funniest sort of irony there. It's happy trolling. And I think that was the most funniest thing he typed in. I'll link that to his tweet, which will be like archived because it might get taken down by Twitter. And I'm not gonna openly support it for legal reasons. I don't think anybody should do that. But it's really funny because I think a lot of people are gonna start trolling each other, putting fake accounts on extremist websites like Daily Stormer, and talk about race, make up racist comments, so just to get them kicked off of Twitter. That's funny. In fact, it doesn't really matter because Jack Dorsey is just a piece of fucking shit. I do hope Twitter goes down into the drain and cease to exist, which will cause Jack Dorsey to spend the rest of his life living in a fucking cardboard box in front of a train station begging for money or sucking dick for quarters. Hell, he might end up living in a van down by the river. A Chris Farley reference. And I have a link to my Gab account. In fact, I think a lot of people should move to Gab. I don't, and now technically the brain dead media like CNN or Vox have attacked Gab, calling it a right-wing echo chamber. It's not a right-wing echo chamber. I'm not right-wing. I'm a classical liberal. I support classical liberalism, even when I consider myself a firebrand progressive at the time. In the past, I mean. Because I never cared about what orientation a person has or person doing whatever he wants to fucking do. As long as it doesn't harm anybody or anyone else, I'm fine with that. And you should come, and I would encourage everybody to move to Gab and start their accounts there. And let Twitter become a left-wing echo chamber, just as Jack Dorsey wants it to be. In fact, he's just doing this for money because he knows the legacy media wants him to delete Twitter accounts that they don't like. Because if you think about it, when it comes to people doing journalism on media, the vloggers, they are actually competing against the CNN and the Fox News and the MSNBC and all the other legacy media outlets. And they're a lot better. They don't have to be censored. They don't have to be watch what they say. They can just do whatever the fuck they want. And basically Twitter is going to be like where it's just the lame brain media and all the lefties who like the virtue signal about how evil Trump is. it's just what it is gonna be back then. It's like when the FCC fucked up radio for good, back in the 80s and shit. They went after people like Howard Stern because they wanted to be squeaky clean along with Clear Channel. And they're gonna do the same thing with the internet. But I think as we internet users, vloggers, amateur general journalists, alt media people, we can actually stop this from happening. We need to stop this. So anybody like now, if you like the Twitter layout, the way you do things on Twitter, like I say, come to Gab. In fact, follow me on Gab because I don't think my Twitter account will be up on Twitter for long. And that's all I got to say. Now, I'm not very coherent when being unscripted, so sorry if you have trouble understanding me, basically, and all that. Which I don't do well with unscripted videos, just to tell you the truth, but I'm trying to get the message out there, and you should do too. So, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my VidMe channel, follow me on Twitter, Minds, and follow me on VidMe. I'm Wicked Wonka, and I'm signing out.